Welcome, everyone. I am Chris Gore. I am live from my YouTube studio, in my home studio. I am also on Gary's show on the Nerdrotic Nooner at the same time. I don't think you can hear me because I muted myself. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Who knows? Let's start the show. This is an experiment. We're crossing the streams as we speak. We're going to be talking about today on the show The Mandalorian, Season 3, the latest episode. The Marvels, we'll do a trailer reaction, plus Attack of the Doc trailer reaction if you haven't seen it yet. I know Alan hasn't seen it. We'll talk about it in a little indie movie called How to Blow Up a Pop Line, plus filmmakers of an award-winning short film, Hungry. The filmmakers Jillie and Thomas Simon will be joining us at the end of the show in the next couple of hours. I hope you're doing well. Let's get this show started. Let's get going. All right, I'm on two screens here. This is an experiment. We'll see if this works, folks. Oh my God. All right.
I have no idea how this works. So
I don't know how it works either, but
oops, sorry. We're hitting buttons at the same time.
Here we go. I'm gonna can you hear Gary?
No, not at all.
Okay, Gary, I'm on the Film Threat live stream right now on our channel. I can hear you fine. I don't think Alan can hear you, but we need better audio. But I guess you can cross streams. I don't know how practical this is. This is a weird thing. So I'm actually doing Film Threat right now. We've never done this. It was bound to happen.
I mean, there are ways to make this happen.
Uh-huh.
Do I need to pull up this?
I don't know that there's any. Someone should compile that data, because I've often asked, like, is there data that proves certain types of movies are financially successful and certain movies that do certain things are financial flops? I think that someone should do that research. But I think I don't know if this is really working, because I know Alan can't hear you. You can't hear Alan. Yeah, you got to finish the super chats. I'm going to start my stream. Hopefully, if people want to continue the conversation after you're done with the soups or when you end your show, come on over to Film Threat. We'll be talking about similar stuff. But this is weird, dude. We crossed the streams. It's
well, bizarre. Hey, tell Gary I say hi.
Oh, Alan says hi. Alan,
I may be in Dallas sometime, but we got to talk about that one.
Cool. All right. Take care, everyone. Film Threat. Check out Attack of the Doc. I will talk to you soon, and I'm going to see you in Vegas. All right. Take care, man. Later. All right. Back to us. Now it's just us, Alan.
Yeah. Hey. So you are going to Vegas now.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, that was an interesting. You know what? I just thought I'm going to be late. Might as well just try an experiment. Why don't I just keep the streams going? Oh, I envy you right now. You've got yourself a soda. I don't have any soda. I'll be having it tonight. I'm going to see Renfield at the AMC Burbank 16 at 7 p.m. There is a AMC Investor Connect screening. Tickets are still available. If you have the AMC A-list, grab your tickets. I'll be there tonight.
I saw it last night.
Well, don't tell me about it yet. I want to let's see who's in the chat. We're going to talk about the Marvels. We're going to talk about Attack of the Doc. We're going to go through it all. We got a lot to go. And Mandalorian Season 3, I saw the latest episode this morning. Yeah. We're going to get to it.
I saw half of it. Hey, by the way, I'll say one thing about Renfield. You're either going to have one of two strong reactions toward it.
I think I'm going to like it, because what I have heard from reliable sources, of which, Alan, you are one, it is ultra violent.
It is ultra comic book violent, yes.
Ultra comic book violent. And
this is a Robert Kirkman project.
And people were comparing it. What I heard is people were comparing it to, what am I doing? I'm taking my socks off because it's hot in here. It's hot in here, folks. I feel like Mr. Rogers right now. Am I going to change into a sweater? I hear it's ultra violent, but it's also comparable to something like Kick-Ass. That's what other people were saying. It's a lot like in tone like that. So that makes me interested. I think the trailers have not been great, but I did hear a friend of mine who works at Universal and he works on the trailers, and he's always been very honest with me. And he says that Renfield is really good. And I said, really? I said, that trailer looks awful.
I will say this. It is better than the trailer is letting on.
That's good to hear.
I will also say this. There's one actor in the movie that will infuriate you.
And is her name?
Well, what do you say? What makes you think it's her?
Does it rhyme with the water Aquafina?
Maybe.
Oh no. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about Renfield.
We'll talk about it. But
we're going to talk about Renfield on Friday morning at our Friday Film Threat Livecast. But let's see who's here in the chat. Winter Soldier is here. The Film Threat Nooner. It's more like the Film Threat late afternoon at this point. David Glenn says, howdy, everyone. I saw a lot of people that are familiar names in the chat last night. I did Tuesday night's main event. I stayed on longer than I probably should have, but they allowed me to rant. So what can I say? Ms. P Coffee is here. She is moderating. She is our chief mod, and we appreciate her. Thank you so much for being here. Solomon Kane 66. Has anyone heard any reviews of Renfield? Well, Alan has seen it. Why don't you do a teaser thing before the end of the show? Talk about it.
Okay.
But let's see. Mr. Smith, thank God for Film Threat to watch the crap so I don't have to. Hey, everyone, says Jericho Leon. Solomon Thornton says Star Wars should have been just like The Wrath of Khan. All of the legacy working with the new characters to defeat an enemy. The Thrawn trilogy should have been the sequels. I don't think anyone doubts that. And Lord Thoth saying hi to everyone here. Sifax is here. Hail Film Thread. Sifax, will I see you tonight, 7 p.m., Renfield? Get your tickets Wednesday, Investor Connect screening. Sifax is a member of our movie meetup group at the AMC Burbank 16. Fear the Turtle 21 Renfield looks like a lot of fun. Could easily see people loving it or hating it, but I'm interested in it. May catch it this weekend. Well, we will do a review. A non-spoiler review, but we'll get deep into it once I've seen it on Friday morning. But early reports are that it's actually a lot of fun. So there you go. John Snowden says, I'm just here to hear about Alan's fatherhood of X-Ray Girl. Yeah, we should have done that. Like, hey, it's your dad. On the other
I'm probably old enough to be her dad. Do you know how old she is?
I don't know how old X-Ray Girl is.
I mean, technically, if she's under 30, I could technically be her dad.
All right. Well, let's launch right in, folks. Let's get right in. Alan, can you bring up the trailer for the Marvels, or should I do that?
I could do that.
All right. Maybe I should do it. I don't know who's got the better internet. It's always a battle.
You might need to do that.
All right. Well, then let me look it up. It's fine.
We're not gonna play it though, are we? Are we just gonna show screenshots?
Oh my God, I don't know that we can play it because
I think
what I've seen the music low.
Well, what I've seen other people do is they pull it up and then they they pause it at certain points, and so you're getting the images as opposed to moving around. All
right, I'm gonna keep the audio. I'm gonna keep the audio really low, so I'll have the audio on, but it's gonna be low. Would it stop here? Okay, here we go, folks. How's everybody's Wednesday? I always look forward to Wednesdays. I do 2 shows back to back. When I was on Gary's show, I was making my lunch, and let me just say this. Before we get into the Marvels. I was making my lunch, and oddly enough, I can bake. Why? Baking is based on science. You mix up a bunch of stuff, you throw it in the oven, 350 for 20 minutes, whatever it is. I can barbecue. What do? You throw it on the grill. Yeah, it's done. I am a terrible cook. The thing, I can cook breakfast, but I'm not even super great at that. Although these days, even modest cooking skills are better than none. But I went into my fridge and I was just like cobbling together. I realized, one, I need to go to the store, but I had sausage. It was mango spicy pineapple sausage. That's what I had. It was not great, but it was, whatever. But I was cooking I cooked and ate during the last part of the show. So I could get here on time and I was still late. It's all good. We crossed.
You'd be jealous what I made the other day.
What did you make?
Well, it wasn't prime rib, but it was select rib. And I bought a meat thermometer that could connect to my iPhone. And decided, hey, let's roast a rib for the first time, and it turned out pretty good considering it was a level below prime rib.
Wow. Well, that sounds delicious. Although it's sort of a needless app, right? You put the thermometer in. Can't you just read it?
No, but this lets me walk away. I could do
Right.
work while monitoring the temperature of the beef.
Oh, well, now I really love it because you can do work. That
Yeah.
I love.
Yeah.
'Cause it's not like you don't have like enough reviews to write.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I finally got You Can Call Me Bill, the review up. So
Oh, okay, good. Oh, it's up on the website.
It'll be up tomorrow.
It'll be up tomorrow. Great, great.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it here. We're gonna share screen. Let me I'm gonna go full size on this. Okay. So
Yeah.
Alan, are you ready?
Maybe just keep it muted and we'll...
I'm keeping the audio really low, but we can also talk through it.
Yeah.
By the way, there are 400 people watching us live.
Hey.
Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed. We truly appreciate it. And we thank you for choosing Film Threat. So there you go. Alan really thanks you. You know how many times Alan thanks you?
69
times is how many times Alan will thank
you. Said we retired that. But,
I know. I keep talking about like we should retire videos, after we play them too much. Alan always wanting to show off his pecs.
That one still has life to it. So
well, all right, we'll keep that going. All right, here we are, folks. The Marvels with Brie Larson is here. Alan, because he's a big Disney fan, cannot wait for this film. I am skeptical because I did not love the first Captain Marvel movie. I thought it was flawed. I thought she was kind of shoehorned into the end of what should have been the conclusion of the story of our key Avengers. And she was kind of shoehorned in at the last minute.
Because she played a pivotal part in Endgame. So
she did. She played a pivotal part, even though she had to go away for a little bit.
Yeah, I'll tell you how excited I am for this movie. I will be at the movie Twitter meetup in Burbank when this movie comes out, and I will.
All right,
with all
Alan, it's done. You're going to be there.
I'll be there. I will be there.
I'm going to back it up. Okay, we're going to talk through this. I've got the audio on low. You probably have already seen this trailer, but let's go. Here is the Marvel Studios, The Marvels. Here we go. Spaceship.
Captain Rambo.
What does Saber Station stand for?
Saber, I know it's something.
What is Saber? It reminds me of something. Do I still have this? See, I have a book that's called Saber. I've got the closed captioning on because I think it's important. All right, here we go.
Maybe turn the volume down more.
Turn it down more. All right, I'll turn it down a little bit so it's just.
Oh, by the way, it refers to Sentient Worlds Observation and Response Department.
That doesn't spell saber.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at sword. Dear God.
Alan, I know.
No, I say what is saber, and they give me the definition of sword. And,
meaning of saber, Marvel. Those are your keywords.
Yeah, but it keeps sending me to
sword.
Sword when it to sword.
Sword. All right, let's just keep watching this.
Yeah, keep going.
All right, here he is.
Gonna get you some readings, Fury. Hello?
There's Monica Rambeau, and she's about to touch something. Okay, by the way, when I first saw the trailer, I didn't realize that they switched. I just thought that it wasn't super clear that it's Ms. Marvel in the astronaut suit.
Yeah, it was. I saw it in some headline, and that's how I figured it out.
Because of that. So, is this?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess the joke is because they have powers that somehow connect. If they use the powers or something will trigger that they switch places, and this is going to be used comedically throughout the movie to the annoyance of Brie Larson. Also,
by the way, do you hear that? That's Stan Lee rolling over in his grave.
Well, Stan Lee is not going to be in this movie, so
yeah. And I'm sure he would have been all for this idea of use your powers and transport yourself with someone.
It actually seems like an idea that might work in the comics. I don't know. Okay, here we go. And she, okay. I do want to point out.
Yeah.
You
better turn that down. That's the Beastie Boys, by the way.
All the stuff in the volume doesn't work. All the stuff in the volume just doesn't work for me. Like that last scene that we saw where a bunch of guys, what is she on the moon? Is she on some other like what is going on? It looks like, I mean, there are sets. I think I heard this on another thing. There are sets from the original Star Trek series that look better than that, more grand in scale. All right. I got the
you gotta turn down the volume
just
on that.
Just talk through it, Alan. Just talk.
I know.
I want to hear your sultry voice, Alan.
I just don't want. Okay. I don't want to get.
Okay. Well, now, look, Alan. Don't you tell me to smile, Alan. Don't you tell me to smile, Alaning.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm just trying to talk through this. Marvel Studios. Oh, wait, did you catch that? How the logo switched? It was Studios Marvel, then it went Marvel Studios. That's
awesome. That's the brilliance of Disney marketing. I mean, marketing has never been better in the last 10 days.
Are you being sarcastic?
in the last 10 days, marketing of any product is amazing.
You're being sarcastic, Alan. I don't believe you. All right, let's keep going. Is it too loud? Just talk. And then here, now who's that guy that's tied up? They have a guy sitting in a chair that's tied. Do you see in the lower left? What's going on?
Is that Ryan or
is it? It's Ryan Cannell. It's Ryan Cannell tied up to a chair, and in the back is in the very back. See that guy with the beard? That is Odin from Friday Night Tights, but wearing a wig. So there you go. It's a young Odin or Odin with a wig. So,
by the way, everyone's saying that Saber is sword.
Saber is sword.
Yeah, and that I'm looking it up, and that they're just saying it's a variation of sword, which again makes no sense whatsoever.
All right, let's get back to this. So the bad guys are white guys. Let's go on. Here we go. No, it's whatever. Who cares?
Or maybe they're green. You know, you don't know.
So she can manipulate light and energy. What is going on? She's like, so something's in her chest. Wait, let's look at this CGI. That top looks like something from Hot Topic. The costumes in this, I'm not going to say the costumes are bad, but they don't look practical, and they look like very good cosplay at a convention. And maybe that's by design, because then you can cosplay.
Or Marvel can just market those things. Yeah, they produce it.
I don't know.
No, I mean, clearly this is for women, mostly girls, and that's
how. Okay. On that note, how excited is your daughter for this movie?
She is absolutely not excited about seeing this movie.
What? She's the target demo.
No, she's not. No, you got to remember, stuff meant for teen girls are actually meant for preteen girls. And my daughter has outgrown this, the preteen stuff a long time ago.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and then she shows, and then what happens?
By the way, just on that clip, give me a description of Ms. Marvel's powers.
Here's the thing. I don't even know what Captain Marvel's powers are. She's strong and she can shoot energy bolts.
Yeah,
and
she's
she can
overpowered.
fly, and she can go into space without without any. I don't know. She has like a helmet that goes. They were never. Here's what I like about the early Marvel. They would explain to you not only how someone got the powers or why they have them, but kind of the extent of their powers. So you could kind of gauge. And it was always, look, this is a debate that has gone on since the beginning of comics. Who is stronger, the Thor or the Hulk? I don't know. You know, there's a lot of debate about that. But you kind of know what people's powers are. You know the extent.
Right. But the thing is, they have clearly defined powers, versus Superman, which is just basically all powerful.
Can I predict why I believe that the powers for all three of these characters is kind of vague and undefined? It's because the people making this don't care. Mm-hmm. Do you know who cares? nerds like us that like will sit and debate forever about, well, this person could do this, or how would Hawkeye take out the Hulk? Well, he could do this. You know, it was always like the cool thing about Marvel is you knew the extent of people's powers so much that you could pair two unlikely heroes or villains together. And based on that, it was almost like you were just playing on your knowledge. You didn't need the cards to give you numbers. You knew the extent of all those characters' powers, and you could kind of play it out, which is a lot of fun actually. But I don't think we really know.
Yeah, I mean, here's the problem is that Ms. Marvel is the one who has clearly defined powers in the comic.
Is it? I never finished.
I mean, for one thing, she's a major character in the Marvel's Avengers video game, right? And quite frankly, she's one of my go-to characters as well.
But Alan, she's nice knowing you on the stream. Yeah. It was nice knowing you, Alan. No, I'm sorry.
I'm commenting about the comic book Ms. Marvel versus the television Ms. Marvel, because you know it's basically she's an Inhuman with Reed Richards-like powers, and they've just been able to develop that. And here they didn't give her those powers. They gave her powers that are clearly undefined, even within her own television series. And what are Monica Rambeau's powers? You know, it's like no one can. I don't think anyone can confidently say what they are.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's get back to it. We're almost halfway through the trailer here, so and then we'll go to your chat comments and questions. Here we go. So she is now transported from wherever she was. Hi. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. All right. So now she's in. Okay. Please look carefully at this hallway. This looks like we were talking about it on the Nerdrotic Nooner. This looks like the hallway you would wait to get on a theme park ride. This looks like the hallway, and those cheap little lights. I think I gave you a set of those, Alan, for when you paint your room. When are you painting your room?
We will hopefully be doing it next week.
All right. So here it is. You've got this lighted triangular shaped room. Kamala Khan is now transported there, and she meets a cat from the Captain Marvel movie who has powers. Yeah, there you go. So, okay.
Yeah. Isn't that awesome?
I just feel like the sets are pretty cheap. I feel like they've gotten lazy with the volume, and when it comes to production design, that was weak in my opinion.
Yeah, why'd they even bother to build that set?
Well, they're all in the same.
They didn't build it. They just put it up.
Here they are in whatever this. Let's start again here. I want to catch this. So they're in a ship going towards what? I don't know. And then I don't know. That looks like Star Wars Episode 1. That looks like Naboo to me. It's got to be some alien world. As you see the platforms to the left. Anyways, all right, we'll continue. Yeah. There's less than 30 seconds here. They're teaming up.
They're teaming up.
Okay, there you got your dance and musical number. And that's going to be what on the alien world? Let's look at this stuff. Let's look at the design of these alien characters. I mean, some of them are called like someone looks green. A couple of them look light green. There are people with weird masks on. I don't know. It looks like a Bollywood number.
Yes.
It's. I'll tell you this. It's no Natu. Let me just say that right off the bat. This is no Natu.
Well, that one had all white people in the back.
Yeah. They didn't have all white people.
Had the two main characters. Everyone else was white.
Okay. You know what? You had me at kittens. Look at how many kittens do we have there? You know what? This shot here. This shot here is running it. It's like herding kittens. That's what it's like to be doing this film. You've heard that term, herding kittens.
Yeah.
So
let me ask you, when you watch this movie, what beer would you buy?
Coors Light. All right, back to it.
I know the perfect beer. I'm just saying.
Okay, was that the main bad right there? Is this lady? That's the lady.
I believe that is like a henchman of the main bad. High Evolutionary, I believe, is the main bad.
All right. Let's continue. Here we go. All right. Oh, are they practicing? Is this like a training session, or is that evil?
No, they're turning on each other. That's what they're doing.
Is that what it is? All right, let's keep going through here. They're not a team. They're not a team. They just want to let you know that. I'll say this: this is not as bad as I expected it to be. It actually I'm just saying straight up. Like I expected this. I'm telling you right off the bat, this is not for me. And it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I just think it's like, not for me. I'm not going to care. But I expect it to be way more cringe. It looks like a Disney.
By the way, sorry, I'm getting laid out in the chat here. High Evolutionary is in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, but it's something similar to that. And yes, the chat is always right. Thank you, chat. This is why I love the chat. They'll correct you. They make me seem smart, like I know what I'm talking about.
So let me answer this question here.
Sure.
Willie the Monkey King's music. Is this the trailer Alan saw at D23? No, it's not. In fact, it is a million times better than what we saw at D23.
Well, let's finish it, and then we're gonna go final thoughts, and then your comments and questions. Here we go, and boom, it's the Marvels and. See, now normally they would have a little button after this, right? And they didn't do that. They showed restraint. It's under 2 minutes. It's 1:56. I mean, whatever. It's a teaser. We really learned nothing about the story. Alan, what are your final thoughts on the Marvels trailer reaction? Yeah. And how many times will you see the Marvels?
Oh yeah. I mean, look, let me speak to you misogynists out there. How after watching this are you not excited about seeing this movie? I mean, the trailer just clearly shows that these three heroes, every time they use their powers, they switch places, and they do that. They continually switch places. And how are you not excited about a superhero movie where the heroes switch places? And so, I mean, I'm beyond. I don't know what people are thinking. Why they are not excited about this movie? Who cares about plot? Who cares about who the villain is? Who cares about what danger goes out in the world? These three characters they switch places, and I'm more than excited about seeing it. So there you go, you misogynists out there.
Look, I'm excited about the conversation that you and I will have after we have seen it, but I don't consider myself a Captain Marvel fan. I think Brie Larson is miscast. I think that I think Katie Sackhoff would have been a better Captain Marvel. I think she's just more likable. And I just don't think this will, I don't think this is for me. I'm not the target demo, but it does tie into Marvel, and I do, I'm sort of checked out on Marvel. There have been rumors actually that Jonathan Majors may not be continuing in the role of Kang, that he may be recast, and it won't be the first time that Marvel has done this. They did it with Rhodey. They did it with Rhodey in the Iron Man movies. They are not above recasting if they sense a problem. So, of course, I'm going to see it so we can discuss it. But my expectations were really low, and it looks fine and not as bad as I anticipated it would be. Those are my final thoughts on the trailer.
Let me just say this about what I saw at D23. It was much more about the interactions between the three characters, and it was very. Of the three properties that these three come from, the movie felt more like Ms. Marvel in terms of tone, in terms of the way things looked, and especially the way. I mean, I think you'll find that Ms. Marvel gets really annoying really fast, and so it was the same comment I gave you when I first saw it. Texted you right away. The Marvels is not for us. It's not for. It's a preteen Disney Channel movie. And I'm glad they're going to budget accordingly, because they know they're not going to make a lot of money with this movie. So they're pretty sure they're keeping that budget really low to reflect that. Because this would be a monumental disaster, financial disaster, if they spent over, let's say, $100 million on this movie.
I predict it will make less than $1 billion. That's my final thought.
Okay.
All right, let's go to your chat comments and questions. Pilgrim Media for 2. Who's a member. Thank you, Chris and Alan. Love what you guys do. Mike Wait for 5 says, I won't be able to attend the 8 p.m. screening. Could you please give my tickets to somebody who needs them? Thank you. I will absolutely do that. There is a 10:15 p.m. screening, and for Attack of the Dock, I'll share screen. They have added a 5:30 p.m. screening. The main screening is at 8, but there will be Q&As. They're going to be Q&As at all of them. So 5:30 p.m., 8 p.m., and 10:15. Alan will be there for all 3. You don't need to get there, Alan, until like 7 or close to 7. Yeah. For the first Q&A, and then there'll be the 8 o'clock and 10:15. It's your chance to see it in a theater, and I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited for people to see it. So, Mike, thank you for that. That's very kind. Justin Long. Wait, the Justin Long? I like frying Eggos in bacon grease. Dude, okay. I do the same thing. I make bacon, and then I make sunny side up eggs in the bacon grease. I don't use like Pam or any of that spray stuff. I just use the grease to cook my eggs in. So good pro tip. I've never done that with Eggos, but that sounds delicious. Brock Sampson, a crouching IG hidden Grogu. We're going to get to that. We'll get to the Mandalorian. Trust me. Fear the Turtle 21. I have no interest in the Marvels, but the actress playing Kamala seems to be having fun at least. I think she's the saving grace. I said when I watched like the first 3 episodes of Ms. Marvel, it wasn't for me. The best thing about it was her and her family dynamic. The worst part about it was the superhero stuff. I thought the superhero stuff was all dumb. The fact that she gets bracelets, that just like nothing made sense. But the actress who plays Kamala Khan, I actually think is very likable. She's likable. Seriously, look at that actress. She has everything that Brie Larson doesn't have: sense of humor, enthusiasm. I think she's going to be the real star of this movie. I'm serious.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. Someone has to be a star in that movie.
Movie looks bad, but she's the only one that seems to be trying and actually wants to be there. By the way, the actress, I'm spacing on her name, she actually knows the comics. If you've seen interviews with her, she knows the comics. And a little. Then
she must be really disappointed in not being the character of the comic.
Well, another thing that I want to point out, in the movies, in the movie and the TV show, she looks kind of like this dumpy kid. I've seen her in real life twice at 2 events that I went to related to CCA events. She is stunningly beautiful in real life. She was wearing these incredibly high heels, a gown. She was made up differently. She doesn't look like a kid. She looks like a young woman. She is a gorgeous woman. They dumpy her down as this character, Kamala Khan, which is really unfortunate. Chato's reaction was priceless. Lizzie McGuire, pretty much, says Markian Ghoulie. Winter Soldier says Disney Marvel Freaky Friday. Oh my God, it's Freaky Friday.
Well, Disney
this
did
is Freaky Friday. Thank you, Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier. Dude, it's Freaky Friday. Fletcher Williams, I Suck at Games channel. Subscribe to Fletcher Williams, I Suck at Games channel. He's also a member. But why have a spacesuit when your power lets you breathe in space? Fair point. Lord Thoth, Hulk is strongest. Thor has better powers that can defeat strength. I think the only way to defeat the Hulk is using your brain, because Hulk is like kind of a drunk, angry person.
Yeah, he feeds off his anger than anything.
Correct. Let's see here. We had some super chats that have just come in. Buck99 from D-Dog's Awesome Stuff. Will you be reviewing the movie Nefarious? Yes, Alan is going to see that movie.
Am I? We have 3 movies to see this weekend.
I know. I don't know if we'll get to. We will review it. MK Solid 82 for $4.99. Chris, I don't understand why Star Wars is now only for women. Even the Imperial officers are now all women. Ahsoka looks like Girl Scouts in space. I just think you need balance. I like a strong female character, but do I want all of the characters to be strong females? And by the way, I think when they do a strong female character, what they're really doing is they're just men. They're written like male characters, and they just have actresses play them.
Yes.
What they need is they need someone who has feminine vulnerabilities, just like men have masculine vulnerabilities. I just want there to be balance. When I saw that Ahsoka trailer, all I could think was, wow, are there any men in this universe? And of course, they're all evil.
Yeah, by the way, you just described a certain character in Renfield.
Okay, well, there you go.
Based on a bottle of water, yes.
Pilgrim Media for 2. I think they are stunning and brave. Ghost Rider became a new member. Thank you for that, Ghost Rider. We appreciate it. Oh, yeah, Captain Marvel is Brie. And Magic says imperfect. Gregarious Gaming says Magic Bracelet. So there you go. Justin Long says, looks like a Roger Corman movie. David Glenn goes on to say, kittens should be the whole movie. Has anyone ever seen the Kitten Bowl? That's a real thing that they'll play during the Super Bowl. I think it's on like Animal Planet. They'll do like the Puppy Bowl or the Kitten Bowl, which is basically just they put the kittens or puppies in a ring that looks like the Super Bowl. You know, it looks like a football field, and they just play and run around as a way to, I don't know. I think it's fun. I think it works. Buford T. Justice coming in hot with a $99.99 super chat. Wow, Buford, thank you so much. That is incredibly generous. Wow. Let's read your super chat here. Guys, if AI can give me a high-level CGI version of the Thrawn trilogy, I'll pay for it. Artists have put themselves in this position by promoting the modern art movement. Recommend indie horror film, Horror in the High Desert, good low-budget horror without pointless CGI. All right, Horror in the High Desert. Alan, do we have a review of it on Film Threat? Is it in our queue to be reviewed? We need to jump on that. If Buford T. Justice is recommending it, I want to make sure we see it and that we get a review. But Buford, thank you so much for that. I don't know where AI is going. I am hopeful that there will be competent artists that will be harnessing AI to show us spectacularly huge epics, but at a fraction of the cost. Continuing with your super chats or your chats and chat questions, Pharaoh of Vibes, Iman Vellani is 20 years old. Well, I've seen her in real life. I did not meet her, but I saw her at 2 events, and I was shocked. Like, I had to go, oh, that's her. Like, she got on stage and gave some quick speech. I think it was at
it was at the CCA.
No,
Asian. Sorry.
It was at that, but then also at the Saturn Awards. And I didn't even know it was her until she spoke and they introduced her, which was crazy. Latino Slant for 5. Hey, locos, always love the Film Threat homies. Shameless plug. I'll be live right after these boys are done. Gracias. The Latino Threat. Boom. Do you like my accent, Paulie? We will send, remind me, Alan, we will send everyone Latino Slant slightly after 3 p.m. going live. Say hi to my buddy, Paulie. He has been joining our movie meetup group at the AMC Burbank 16. Always love hanging out with Paulie. He is genuine and good people. So subscribe to his channel. Ear Elephant for 5. Chris, bruh. Baby Metal is mid-tier. Japanese rock, Bandmade, Hanabi, and Nemophilia are all far superior. Far Elephant. Thank you so much for that. I love it. I'll just look up Japanese. I will look up these bands. Nemophilia, Hanabi, Bandmade. How can I forget that? But yeah, Baby Metal.
On New Year or something?
Well, no, I was talking about it on Gary's stream. Death Clock from Metalocalypse and Baby Metal are going on tour together across the United States. They come to Los Angeles in, I believe it's October, and they're touring across the country. I am going to see that show. I'll probably have earplugs in my ears. I just don't want them to ring the next day. But thank you, Ear Elephant. Look, I'm not fine. critique. You know what? I like Baby Metal. There's a very good chance if I like Baby Metal, I will also like those bands. And thank you for the recommendation, Ear Elephant. Stubble McShave for 50 sec. 50 sec. Thank you for that, Stubble McShave. Biggest storytelling sin of the sequel trilogy was killing Snoke in The Last Jedi. Rian Johnson handled old characters horribly, but killing Snoke really messed up the third film. I really would have liked to know what the third film was originally supposed to be. We'll never know. Lewis Jones just sends in 169 pounds. Wait, 169 pounds? That's very interesting.
69. 69. 69. 69. 96. Let's go. $69.
All right. Well, thank you, Lewis, for that. We truly appreciate it. That's awesome. Wait, I'm trying to get through all these. There's people, ear elephant.
Yeah, there's a little run here. So
there's D_drive says Davina Duckworth. That was Mike Has Bad Knees. Patrick Lemire, Death Clock rules. I've seen Death Clock in concert. It was great. I saw Death Clock years ago. The merch was fantastic. I mean, this is like, oh my God, how long ago was that? Might have been like 2007. Wow. Bat Dog, who's a member, says Horror in the High Desert is on YouTube under Horror Central Channel. Alan, look it up. Let's get someone to review.
It's also on Prime Video, Amazon Prime Video.
All right, so it's free. Echo Base Network. Hey, EBN, you saved my weekend for $9.99. I thought there was some cool stuff in the Mando episode, but the negative outweighs the positive. Also, check out I Prevail. Great metal band and super cool guys. EBN, you kept me sane. I mean, yes, I lurked in the chat and I occasionally piped up, but it was fun to watch you all. So thank you. Thank you very much for that. I got to do your show at some point. I've got to do your show. I appreciate it. Fletcher Williams, I Suck at Games channel. Agree. The Kamala actress is actually happy to be there. Like, just
energy is everything in a performance.
I think she's going to be the most popular among the three. Is my prediction. Jocelyn, where's our Asian representation, Alan?
Yes. Well, apparently Persian means you're Asian now. So
there you go. Big Jack Gameplays. I wouldn't be surprised if they recast Jonathan Majors and made him a white woman. Could happen. Yeah. David Glenn Bree always has the expression on her face like she just smelled bad cheese. Yeah, she just really does well, like the sort of like pursed nose, like she's disapproving and she's annoyed, and that's just her resting annoyed face. Sarcastic Alan has the big D energy, says Willie the Monkey King's music. And by the way, Alan is the one starring these comments, so no wonder we're getting these comments starred. Alan, something that just, so there you go. Agreed. Chris Katie Sackhoff says Womp Biscuits. And boo, can we kick Alan? No, we need Alan for balance.
Marvel's going to be great. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we'll see about that. Well, that wraps that up on there. Let's do something else. We're going to pivot. We're going to pivot quickly. How are we going to pivot? We are going to pivot to the trailer reaction to, dang it. Let's talk about Attack of the Dock. Attack of the Dock is by the way, it has an exclamation point that's actually in the title. That's a true thing. Alan, as far as I can tell, has not seen the trailer yet. Alan, have you seen the trailer?
Yes, I have. Every time you show up on some stream. Okay, sorry.
Take two.
I haven't.
I'm going to get Alan's live reaction to the trailer. There are over 800 people watching. We're going to do this real quick because you've probably seen it before. The movie comes out April 24th, which is the 21st anniversary of G4 TV. You can go to attackofthedock.com And every time that a new platform lands on there, you'll be able to you'll see it. Right now, it's available for pre-order currently on Vimeo. So check that out. There are links to, if you go to attackofthedoc.com, you can get premiere tickets. You can pre-order the on Vimeo. We're going to add other links like Vudu and iTunes and all that. Once those logos come up online, we need to get the pre-order links. You can watch the trailer there. You can sign up to get on a list to know when the Blu-ray will be out. The Blu-ray will be out in July, just before San Diego Comic-Con. If you'd like to get on an email list, we're going to do a one-time blast. Let you know here you can buy the Blu-ray for Attack of the Doc, which is loaded with extras. Let's take a look at the trailer right now.
Oh, Indie Rights. You
start apologizing for the things that we did wrong 10 years ago. This show would never.
Let's start it over because you were talking over that.
I was just saying you partnered with Indie Rights. That's pretty cool.
There you go. All right, here we go.
If I were to just start apologizing for the things that we did wrong 10 years ago, this show would never end.
G4 was really one of the very last cable channels ever launched. It was the end of this linear cable era before we got to streaming and whatever it is we watch now.
Something unique, something different, something a little meta, something that was turn the mirror back onto pop culture and kind of spit in its face, but then wipe it off and give you a kiss at the same time.
He was a TV host who was also a production assistant on another show.
Oh, nice molester stash.
You do know who that is, right?
It's Shia LaBeouf, Transformer Kid.
No, it's you.
Friend sent me a series of VHS resume tapes. There was no one better than Whitney Cummings until Olivia Munn came on set.
Hello, Governor. I am Olivia Munn.
She delivered amazingly.
We dumped a bunch of snakes on her. Wow.
Was Olivia wearing the slave Leia at Comic-Con?
History in the making.
The floodgates that they were
Fans were losing their minds.
We were being hounded.
It was also kind of subversive 4chan dark comedy.
We did stuff that would not fly.
Go for Power Girl.
You're a whore.
Also, more susceptible to getting AIDS.
And then from there, the wheels were off the bus.
You got another light bulb, right? Deal, check out.
And it's on fire. The world has been waiting for a half Chinese, half American girl diving into a giant chocolate-filled cream pie.
I want to jump.
Right before we went live, Kevin had just shown me 2 Girls, 1 Cup.
Sex with dragons is one of God's special mysteries.
I spent 8 years researching space dragon sex.
Mannequins.
Not all of those things that happen on the show
I don't swallow with Kevin.
would be acceptable by today's standards.
The infamous fat suit gag, one of our production management was going to walk.
I did a lot of on-camera drinking. Try a beer from every single
2.7. You should be dead.
People will look at a broadcast back then and think, ooh.
Oh my.
Yeah. You can't do that anymore.
Man, we did it once, but now no more. You can't do that no more.
So there you go. Alan, what's your reaction?
It's great. I love it. 10 out of 10.
You can't just say, look, just go to attackofthedoc.com, check it out. You can, look, I just want people to see it. I want people to be reminded of a time when we all celebrated nerd things together and we weren't so divided over you liked this or you just, Alan and I couldn't work together if for some reason I was offended by his opinion. I know for a fact it's Alan's genuine opinion. And when he says he really likes something, he likes it. And that's totally fine. We're all adults here.
Yeah.
So
69 out of 10. Definitely.
I would be happy to get you know what? I hope I get more than 69. Wouldn't it be great if on Rotten Tomatoes it got a 69%?
69, yeah.
God, I hope it gets better than that. Do me a favor. I know review bombing is discouraged, but when it comes out, would you review bomb and give it a good review? If you genuinely like it, give it a good review. If you don't like it, please just don't review it.
Although if it's at 70%, put in a negative review to get it down to 69%.
Yes. Let's get it down to 69. All right, real quick, we'll go through these comments. Then we're going to talk about the Mandalorian season 3 latest episode. We have a lot. We always start the show very ambitiously, like we're going to talk about all these things. And Alan and I have this list, and we talk about it, and then we get to we're getting better at it.
Yeah.
John Manaling said Alan is very handsome and intelligent.
Oh, you didn't have to star that one, Chris.
I think I know I didn't star that one. Jeez, Alan. My God. Fletcher Williams, I suck at games channel for $4.99. Thanks for the shout out on my channel, Chris. P.S. Evil Alan needs a segment. We should. You know what? Oh my God.
What's Evil Alan?
We should have Evil Alan, but it's just you with a goatee. Oh my God. Okay, we're going to talk about this. Maybe we'll do a bit where Alan is Alan. We actually we could pre-record it. Don't just everyone forget that we're having this conversation out loud. We could pre-record a video. We play it like it's a guest. It's your evil twin brother, and then you can interact with it. Like you could do improv with, you just leave places for you to talk live, but we'll pre-record a video. Alan, are you up for that?
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Alan Schill account confirmed, says Imperfect.
This is going to be the greatest documentary ever.
69 out of 10, says Derek Rosenfeld. Mike has bad knees. I had totally forgotten about Whitney Cummings being on the show. She wasn't just on the show. She auditioned for the co-host role along with, paired with Kevin. And it was down to her. Yeah, it's in the doc. It's really interesting. Nothing like classic G4 TV, says Goof R35. Raylo Normie. I love this trailer so much. It's coming out on the 24th, my birthday. Thanks, Chris. Hey, Raylo Normie, happy birthday to you. And by the way, it is coming out on the 24th of April because that is the 21st anniversary of the launch of G4 TV. So it is, I decided let's just put it out on that date. And it's happening. David Glenn says, Whitney Cummings? Really? It was down to her. She was going to be the host of the show until Olivia Munn came along. MK Solid 82. I just remember when Morgan Webb walked out in her jeans, my heart would skip. What a time it was. And let me just say, having worked with Morgan Webb, she's just a nerd. She's a legit geek nerd and knows her stuff. She was just happy to just sit and game. She's kind of out of the industry now, but she was working in game development for a little bit. So there you go. But I thank you for all your kind comments and remarks. I'm sure I'll stop talking about it soon. I just want you to see it. And
we're 10 days away.
Yeah, we're getting not quite 10 days away. We're getting there. Look, it's going to be a lot of fun. And then we may end up doing a watch party. Well, I'll bring on a bunch of people from G4 and we'll do a legit watch party on the channel. I just want to make sure I want to make sure it's rolled out on other platforms because when it comes to indie films, it doesn't all happen in one day. Only big companies are allowed to do that. When you're a small indie, you put your movie out and it kind of hits various platforms little by little. So there you go. All right, we're pivoting. Oh, wait, one last comment here. Spidey Sensei 72 is a member. I miss Blair Butler and Layla Cayley too. They were great. They were Blair Butler. I had this group where we would get together. We would watch football, our football family, and that kind of went away. Kind of like just before the pandemic stuff. We would get together and watch football. And Blair was there on Sundays and other people who worked at G4. We just all watched football together. And that habit was broken. But Blair, wow, she really legit knew her comic stuff. She wrote a movie where we interviewed the director actually on the channel.
Yeah, The Invitation.
The Invitation. She wrote that film. And Blair has worked in television in various capacities. So I can confirm a genuine and good human being. And she's in the documentary. So there you go. All right. It's time to pivot, Alan. It's time to pivot. What are we gonna wait? What did you just open a drink?
No, my daughter has making a mess in this room. All right.
What is going on there?
Just keep going.
Oh my God.
Mr. Stewart, what did you think of The Mandalorian?
Well,
that brought things down.
Yeah. It's time to talk about it, Alan. Let's discuss it. Wait, we should probably I gotta name,
It was the wrong banner. Was that?
No. I'm changing it.
Okay. You changed it. Okay. Ah.
Hang on. I got it here.
So if you're in Southern California next Friday, come to the premiere of Attack of the Dog.
Alan's gonna be there.
I will be there. Chris may be there.
There you go. All right, let's talk about the latest episode of The Mandalorian. Why are we still watching this? Some people have said this episode was an improvement. It looks like the story progressed, but the story is not about Din Djarin anymore. It's not about Grogu. It's not about The Mandalorian. I was literally thought to myself that the title of the series is The Mandalorian. It's actually not about Din. It's not even about Bo-Katan. It's just about the Mandalorian as a people. It's devolved into the Star Wars show. We're at the point, it's just the Star Wars show. So what is it about? Because story is driven by character. This isn't the Mandalorian story. And I think that part of the reason that people are not as interested in this season, and we'll get to this specific episode in a minute, but the reason they're not interested is the Mandalorian story was wrapped up in season 2. He had a mission that began in the first episode of season 1. In the very first episode, you met Baby Yoda, Grogu, and he had an original mission to return Grogu to some people who then he betrayed those people. Grogu, he grew a fondness for Grogu, who accompanied him on many adventures. His eventual goal was to return Grogu to a place of safety. And in the final episode of season 2, he was put in the able hands of Luke Skywalker as the first member of what would be his Jedi Academy, and where he would embark on training. And that seemed like a good end. Now, you could do another season of The Mandalorian. There are other missions to accomplish. There are other goals. There are other season arcs and stories. But to begin season 3 with and by the way, that season 2 ending was like this heartfelt. He takes his mask off. You see his face. He says goodbye to Grogu, and he's off in the capable hands of Luke. And then we start season 3 with forget everything that happened. We're just going to bop around the universe with all sorts of seemingly disconnected stories, building up to tell one big story, which will be a movie directed by Dave Filoni, which will probably end up on Disney Plus and will never be released in theaters. And by the way, all those announcements we saw at Star Wars Celebration, none of those movies are greenlit. There are 3 movies that were announced. These aren't the titles of these movies, but they're the eras. The Dawn of the Jedi, which is set 25,000 years in the past, even before the Old Republic. To be written and directed by James Mangold, or is it directed by only? Then there is the other movie, which is the Dave Filoni film, which will bring together all the Disney Plus Star Wars shows and conclude the conflicts in those shows. My assumption is it's going to be Ahsoka, Thrawn, and whatnot. And then there is a third film which will star Rey Skywalker, who will be in a movie about her beginning a Jedi Academy, which makes no sense to me. That was Luke's arc. She wasn't even formally trained. I guess she stole the books. She stole the books from Luke.
Did he destroy the books?
Cool. She stole the books. This happened in The Last Jedi.
No, but didn't he destroy them, or?
No, Yoda burned down the temple, right? The sort of temple where Luke thought the books were, but Rey had already stolen them. They're in a drawer on the Millennium Falcon.
Right.
In any case, so these 3 movies, not a single one has been greenlit. You are committing $500 million, couple $100 million to make the movie, couple $100 million to market and release the movie. And Kathleen Kennedy has not proved particularly responsible when it comes to budgets. We're looking at the Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny, creeping between 300 and 350 million for the budget for that film. You know, look, I do have to give the Mandalorian series some credit that when it comes to the production design, well, some of the stuff you can argue looks kind of stupid. Like, they're spending money on the show. They are spending some money on the show, but Star Wars Celebration was a source of frustration for me over the weekend, and I didn't exactly sit and watch all of it. I kind of just like, went through, like we talked about this on last Friday's show, but this particular episode of The Mandalorian, The Mandalorian is not the lead character of this show anymore. All of the actions, the story, are driven by Bo-Katan, who has a very clear goal. What is the Mandalorian's goal? If Din is even the Mandalorian at this point, because you could easily argue that Bo-Katan is the Mandalorian, or the Mandalorian is like the name of a people, like the Egyptians. It's the story of the Mandalorians and Mandalore and the redemption of its people and whatnot. But Alan, why don't you tell us about this latest episode of The Mandalorian after that preamble?
Yeah, first of all, I have to ask, are you okay? You sound disheartened, like like all hope and will has been sucked out of your body. And
well, for sure, my soul has been sucked out. But Alan,
yeah, I mean,
continue.
I'll tell you, I only saw the first 20 minutes of the latest episode.
Well, you didn't watch it? That's literally your job.
No, I was watching Picard instead, and then rewatching Picard again. So, okay, so I'm a latecomer to The Mandalorian. This is the first full season I'm watching. I don't understand. I didn't watch necessarily the first two. I don't understand the. I honestly, I don't understand how anyone is excited about this and kind of. Is there enough people so excited about this series that they're going to make a movie to tie it all together? That doesn't make any sense to me. I will tell you the last part of this episode I saw was kind of the Council of the Empire Commanders, and I kept thinking to myself, hold on, is this the Empire or was it the First Order? Or I'm so lost in terms of where. The other thing is I'm confusing with Andor, so now I have to constantly be playing with where in the history does this take place.
Wait a sec, you don't know, dude.
No, I do know, but I'm constantly
right.
They're talking. They're mentioning the Empire. Rise. Hail to the Empire, whatever. And I'm like, what is? I'm like. Doesn't the Empire not exist in the First Order? And then I'm sure this is the other problem with this series.
No, this is, if you've read let me explain then, since okay, the events in The Mandalorian take place after Return of the Jedi.
Right. So this leads to the sequel. That's what I finally figured out.
It's between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. It's the New Republic is trying to bring, trying to set things right in the galaxy after the oppressive authoritarian regime that was the Empire under Palpatine. I say fake news on Palpatine. He brought order to the galaxy, but
but they kept referring to themselves as the Empire in that sequence. And,
no, so let me explain. Let me explain. So if you've read the Timothy Zahn trilogy, Heir to the Empire, it's about sort of the remnants of the Empire coming back under a general named Grand Admiral Thrawn, who was known in the Empire as being this incredibly intelligent, strategic leader who, in the books, it's really great. You should read the books. In the books, Grand Admiral Thrawn would conquer worlds, and the way he did this is he would study the art of an advanced civilization. And what he would determine through the art that the civilization revered, he would tap into what the fears of that civilization were. He would play on the fear of that planet. And he became a master at conquering worlds. And this was the strategy he used. It's a really in-depth character, like a proper villain, which is what you need. It would have been great if Thrawn was the villain of a Star Wars sequel trilogy, but they threw all that away. It was very.
So let me ask you this: is this the first mention of Thrawn in
the
Star Wars?
They've teased Thrawn. They teased Thrawn. They teased Thrawn in the Ahsoka trailer that they showed. So
right.
Thrawn is
Okay, so that, I mean, that's in the future too. I'm saying this is the first time they're bringing Thrawn into the proper Star Wars, whatever you want to go, Disney Star Wars.
In this episode, Thrawn doesn't show up to a meeting. He's too busy.
But they mentioned
Giancarlo Esposito's character, Moff Gideon. You know, he's now the big bad, right? So he's come in, he's returned, he was liberated. They're trying to blame it on the Mandalorians. He, you know, you see that on Mandalore, there's a secret base. It ends up being a trap for the Mandalorians, and they're kind of taken out. And then you see Moff Gideon takes away Din Djarin. Is it Din Djarin? Din Djarin is taken away to a briefing room. But previous to that, there's a meeting with all these other people that are what's left of the Empire, have a big meeting where they're all holograms and they're standing around talking to each other. And Grand Admiral Thrawn was supposed to be at the meeting, didn't make the meeting. My prediction is he'll be present, or you'll see him at the end, you know, before the end of this season. And it's kind of setting up, what does this have to do with you know, Grogu and Pedro Pascal's character? They're just their story is finished.
Right.
They're done. This isn't even about
this show should be called The Tales of the Mandalorian.
Well, it might be better, so that way it's more clear.
You're managing expectations. The other thing is, the reason I mentioned Thrawn and ask about it is, now that they brought him in, you must be really excited that they're finally going.
No, because I'll tell you why I'm not excited. They should have the sequel should have been loosely based on the Heir to the Empire stories. That would have been incredible. There's a new republic, but there's a threat of what's left of the Empire. Keep it simple. This whole creating a first order, and they redo all the logos, and they're doing black X-Wings. All that stuff was to get you to buy more stuff. It's utterly ridiculous. We've talked enough about what a colossal disappointment the Star Wars sequels are. So I'm not going to go into the 1000th tangent where I talk about that.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing that bugs me. That bugs me the most is they're building something bigger, but there's not a base of fans strong enough to sustain it. You know, if they're going to go in this exciting Thrawn direction, or even whatever direction they're headed in with, you know, this supposed lead into the sequels, I can't believe there are enough people that are not me that are so into this story that they're going to make money on this somehow. That I mean, this is the problem with Disney, is they don't understand their audience. They don't understand how to cater to their audience, and they're certainly not willing to put out anything that will excite their audience. The ones with the money, the ones that will spend time to sit and watch, buy tickets, subscribe to Disney Plus, and we know who's leading it, but you know, this is. Ever since the Bud Light thing, I'm like, what has happened to business degrees? What has happened to marketing? What has happened to the idea of how to make money for corporations? Because clearly Disney is not doing any of that.
No. Well, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
That the Bud Light thing is interesting because it shows that the big problem right now is people are being brought up in middle management based on their education, but without any understanding of the audience. I can tell you the woman who launched that Bud Light campaign that offended so many
Ivy
people.
League graduate, by the
way. She doesn't drink Bud Light. She's not the target demographic for Bud Light. She's never been to a dive bar where the four choices are Coors Light, Bud Light, Miller Light, and Miller. And
somehow she thought that to broaden the market, the market share of Bud Light, you have to alienate its current customers. Thinking that by putting out a woke message will bring in all the wokesters who clearly drink a lot and drink Bud Light.
Well, it's true that actually drinking as a whole is down amongst younger people.
Yeah.
They are drinking less than previous generations. I think it has to do with the fact that people are more into marijuana.
Yeah, but my Bud Light point is that they don't understand their audience. This is basic marketing. You have to understand your audience. You have to understand what they want, because these are the people paying your salaries. and you're not catering to them. You're catering to an idea that you think this audience wants, when you clearly have no idea what this audience wants. You know, they've done it with Star Wars. They have no clue why people like you and me who grew up with Star Wars love Star Wars.
Exactly. So this is actually, what's interesting about the Bud Light thing is that a lot of people have been brought up in positions where they are now the shepherds of franchises, IP, products that they don't use, that they're not a fan of, that they don't love. I believe you cannot sell something that you do not love, that you do not know everything about. If you love beer and you drink Bud Light, baby, you should be working at Bud Light and you should be selling Bud Light. Why? It's your favorite beer. It's crisp, it's light, it's like club soda with a little tiny hint of beer flavor. And if that's what you enjoy drinking, well, go right ahead. You should work for that company.
Yeah. Now here's the scarier thing. I have a daughter who is in high school, and we're looking at college. And when I saw what the VP of marketing said from this Ivy School graduate, it made me think, what the hell is an Ivy League business degree worth when this is what they're taught, and that this is the decision they made, and that she was hired because she was an Ivy League graduate. This is, what is a college degree worth nowadays? It's worthless.
She went to Wharton. Also, she put in all of her little bio stuff that she was the first female to be in charge of the biggest beer brand, and then proceeded to shit on the brand when she said that she said that it was a brand on the decline. And look, I'll just say this: Bud Light is not a beer I've ever I've never had a Bud Light on purpose. It's kind of like if someone asks, would you like to drink a soda? Yes, I'll have a Coke. And they say, is Pepsi okay? Like, that's the only option we have. And you just say yes, because Pepsi, Coke, if my only choice is Pepsi, I'll have it. If I can't get a Coors Light, fine, I'll drink a Bud Light. That's what's there. Okay. But I've never on purpose drank that beer. But look, it's a blue collar beer. It's a working man's beer. And when you look at these franchises, it's all very clear to me now that the people that work on these shows are not the fans of this material. You can sit here all day and celebrate look, we have an all female cast and crew and this and whatever. And it's like, that doesn't matter. Do they love this thing? Do they understand it? Do they know what fans' expectations are? Are they a fan themselves? This is why I think that the young actress who plays Kamala Khan, she knows the material. She reads the comic. She understands it. She even kind of attacked Kevin Feige in one interview with her. It's I admire her passion.
Well, I mean, Jenna Ortega and what she did with Wednesday, that was pretty bold because she understood the character.
She understood the character.
And she made it work.
She did. And look, Harrison Ford pushed back against George Lucas for some of his decisions in Star Wars. Famously rewriting lines or saying Han Solo wouldn't do this. He wanted Han Solo actually to die in an act of self-sacrifice in Return of the Jedi, and Lucas considered it and then decided he wasn't going to do it, which is fine. But by
the way, Harrison Ford is the reason Phoebe Waller-Bridge is in Indy 5.
Oh my God. Why? That trailer looks so bad, dude.
Yeah.
We talked about it, but oh my God.
No, I mean, see, again, this is the problem with Disney. They don't know how to run a business anymore. I mean, I was being sarcastic, but did they not consider the audience that the Marvels would draw? And did they not did they not budget the movie accordingly? That's the problem. That's basic business. I have a degree in business. That's what they taught us. And
well, a couple quick things. First of all, this episode was a disappointment. It's not the Mando show anymore. It's not Mando. It's
Tales of the Mandalorian.
It's the Mandalorian in terms of plural, the group, the Mandalorian. It's about the Mandalorian. That's what it is. I mean, That's what it is. I guess they're the Jews of the Star Wars galaxy. They're kind of a displaced people.
Okay, all right.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
What did you think I meant by that?
Oh, you have no idea.
All right. Well,
I'm just saying someone will just clip that and just say, someone's being,
You all knew what I meant. Look, there's over 1,000 people watching. Please smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed.
Oh, wow.
And also, can I actually recommend a different drink?
Sure.
I think that if you really want a good drink, something that tastes much better than a Bud Light, and that's a low bar, you should drink Film Threat Reviews.
Holy fucking shit, these reviews are delicious.
Now how is that marketing? Do you
So
like
true.
that? How do you like the marketing campaign? You have an attractive woman who basically takes a sip of Film Threat and says, holy fucking shit, these reviews are delicious.
These movie reviews are delicious.
See what I mean? Like, I could market beer. Why
You know
not?
what we need to do? We need to take these clips, redo them for a modern era.
Yeah, we're just going to color her hair blue.
Yes.
So there you go. All right. Look, bottom line on The Mandalorian, I'm going to there's only 2 episodes left, I believe. So I'm going to take it to the end.
Really?
No, and you
like,
are.
how is this going to end?
Oh, you're going to watch the rest of them too. You're going to watch the rest of them too, Alan.
I mean, clearly there has to be more story to tell. Okay, my problem with the story of The Mandalorian, it's so entrenched in secrets that I have no clue where it's going, and I don't care about the secret being revealed. I can't imagine anyone who is like me and just jumping in will ever get excited about Star Wars based on these properties.
Well, I think it's kind of over, but there you go. All right, let's pivot to your comments and questions here. We have a special guest, Filmmakers, joining us in about 20-30 minutes, but we have 1,000 people watching. I want to know what you think about the current season of The Mandalorian and the current state of Star Wars. David Glenn for 5 says, what's the story on the Gorilla trailer on the Film Threat Trailers channel? I'll tell you what the story is. Someone thought it would be funny to post a trailer. Like, I think it's a fake trailer, but I thought it was. Look, we have a Film Threat Trailers channel, which is where you can see the Attack of the Dog trailer. Just look up Film Threat Trailers. Please subscribe to that channel. I think it's funny. I thought it was funny. So there you go. There's not much of a story behind it, but thank you. CD Stein 69. It's not saying much, but this episode was the best of the season so far. Not great, but best of the John phoning it in season. Seems like this whole series is just another Disney bait and switch. MK Solid 82 for $4.99. Chris, did you see the clip where a guy tells Sam Raimi and the Evil Dead Rise cast to go F off? People are out of control today.
Why would
really?
someone?
I haven't seen it. Alan, look for it.
Why would someone do that? That's why.
Well, I love Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
But I mean, this stuff is. The most recent trailer for Evil Dead Rise kind of made me want to see it. I know that sounds awful, but X-Wing for 5 says, "What's up, Chris? They can throw as much flash and key jangling as they want here. The story sucks outright." Yeah, I'm with you. Story is key. And I think that the Mandalorian's actual story is played out. Elliot Cecil for $4.99. Did you see the Penguin featurette? I've got major Boardwalk Empire vibes, and the season 4 trailer of True Detective came out, which looks haunting. Yeah, there's an HBO Max, which they're changing their name to Max. Kind of sounds like Cinemax. I don't know why they don't call it HBO Max. HBO Max is changing its name to Max. They did a 1-hour-long presentation, and I haven't seen it yet.
So you're telling me that HBO Max, which owns Cinemax, changed it to HBO Max and then is now just Max?
That is correct.
Okay. Again, what is a business degree worth today?
I don't know. I don't think it's worth much. Let's just say that. So there you go. All right, back to your comments and questions here. I have not seen it, Elliot. I will see it. I am sure it's all on YouTube. Maybe we can look it up. Alan, can you look it up? But find that clip of someone telling Sam Raimi and the cast of Evil Dead Rise to F off.
Yeah, well, I see a headline here that says Bruce Campbell called out an angry audience member at the Evil Dead Rise premiere at South by Southwest. So
this is like an old clip, but if you could find it, that would be great.
It's from 5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Douglas A. Burton for $4.99. There's a great Rebels episode where Thrawn discovers a hidden star system based on the complete constellation shown in a planet's ancient art. Yeah, I love that whole concept of Thrawn as a character, that he studies art, and through art he's able to glean knowledge about the culture of the planet that he intends to conquer. It's so great. It's just, I remember when I read the Thrawn books, I'm just going to call them the Thrawn books, Heir to the Empire, whatever. The Timothy Zahn series. I was listening to the soundtrack of Star Wars because in my head, I was hearing it anyways. And I like to, sometimes when I would read, I like to listen to music that doesn't have lyrics, just to kind of sort of lull myself in sort of a little sort of a hypnotic state, just to kind of, you get like really into a book, you kind of get lost in it. I'll constantly, like if I listen to a book while I'm driving, I usually miss my exit. You know, that happens to me a lot. But yeah,
you want to see it?
All right, let's check this. Let's check this out.
Okay, here we go.
The elevator scene over Lee's head to try and get this over.
This movie fucking sucks.
What?
Whoa. No, keep playing it.
He's gone. Everybody's gone.
Wow. Whoa, did he flip him off? Pause it for a second. Pause it. By the way, I've been to that theater. That's the Paramount Theater. That's the Paramount Theater in Austin, Texas. It's right near 6th Street. And I've seen many movies at that theater. Beautiful theater. But everyone is generally respectful at a screening like that. So I'm really surprised to see that happen. I mean, I don't know, just some crazy
to react that way. To react that way at a premiere.
First of all, I love Bruce Campbell. He's done enough good work that I don't care. But why would you say that? It's like a weird. Now this is weird. This is like shitty things that people say on the internet, saying in real life. It's if you don't like it, you probably just leave the theater. You don't need to stay for the Q&A. But could you roll it back a little bit and play it again?
Yeah,
and just play it through to the end. Play it through to the end.
Yeah. So yeah, you'll hear Bruce Campbell in the background.
Keep Austin weird, right?
There was no alcohol involved in that whatsoever.
Yeah. I don't get it. He waited all the way through the credits.
Wow, that is crazy. Right. That is bizarre.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, it used to be that you would hide behind your keyboard and computer and go on social media and start trolling people. Now we've emboldened people to go out in public and do exactly that. No one's afraid anymore to be that inflammatory.
Let's go back to our comments and questions here related to the latest episode of The Mandalorian and or Star Wars. Toxic Waltz N8, surely Jon Favreau has enough money that he can speak his mind on what's going on. I've never understood why people with that kind of capital don't burn bridges that need to collapse. Well, he wants to keep working. He wants to be a professional. I don't think there's anything wrong with, but really the true thing that Favreau should have done is after Gina Carano was fired, he should have quit. Mm-hmm. After Gina Carano was fired, he should have left Lucasfilm and no longer worked with Kathleen Kennedy. That's it. So I will not work on Star Wars. He can work on Disney. He can do other stuff, but that's what I think should have happened.
Yeah. I mean, I get a sense he's being pushed into the background like a certain fired Disney exec.
Yeah. Kelpie says Chris just executed Order 69. Well, there we go. Lord Thoth, I have read the Timothy Zahn trilogy and GM'd a Star Wars TTRPG campaign in that era for 10 years. I think General managed a tabletop RPG. That's interesting, Lord Thoth. Oh, wow. I would love to get together weekly to play that game. There is a tabletop gaming place near me, but I gotta stop in and check that out. A Grattage. The finale is just going to be an Ahsoka ad. The finale of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Davina Duckworth says, send in the clones. Well, there you are. Chuck E. Cheese. Wait, Chuck E. Cheese is here? I kid. It's not the actual Chuck E. Cheese. Kathleen would rather make an all-girls treehouse. So there you go. Kelpie, oh, I already got that one. 200-watt studio for 5. HBO just turned 50 last year. Now WB erases it. Also, did you interview Candace Bailey for Attack of the Doc? No. So two things. One, yeah, I think it's pretty stupid. No, I interviewed people who worked behind the scenes. So I interviewed the 2 directors who directed collectively more than 1,000 episodes of Attack of the Show. I interviewed the executive producer who was one of the heads of G4 TV, John Reiber. I interviewed people who worked in the control room. I interviewed people who were behind the camera, because everyone that's in front of the camera, you can look up right now. Interviews with Kevin, Olivia, Candace, everyone. There are tons of interviews. Allison Hayslip, they've done podcasts. They don't, and a lot of what they have to say is, I hate to say this, not particularly interesting, because they're being very diplomatic, because they're on-camera talent and they want to be able to work. So they're not particularly interested in saying anything that would be, that
perceived as
here's an interview. It was great to work with so-and-so. I loved working with Kevin. I loved working with so-and-so. It was so much fun doing this. Because I've done those interviews. And there's also, by the way, nothing wrong with doing that. What I wanted to do was tell a story that was untold, which was what happened behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything like the dark side of G4 in your documentary at all.
There are a couple things. That some people could say, but we'll talk about it after.
But not. Yeah.
We'll talk about it after it opens. We have a few more things that we're going to discuss before we get to our special guest in about 15 minutes. They're waiting in our digital green room. We appreciate their patience, and they're showing up so early. It's very early to show up, but I appreciate that. We will get to them momentarily. Let's go. We're going to pivot. God, we have so much to talk about, but we're gonna do this. We're going to pivot. We're going to pivot here. I have to find the pivot thing.
Hated it.
But that's not it. Not it. Alan, you're always free to help me on this.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going next. I can
pivot.
Oh.
I'm pivoting. All right, let's talk about brief early reaction to, or no, you know what? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Or do you want to give like your quick reaction to
to Renfield?
Yeah, I would like to just hear what you quick thoughts for
I'll
people.
do it real quick because it comes out in a few days. There's a lot to like about Renfield, and there's a lot to hate about Renfield. And the question will ultimately be, will what you hate overpower what you like? And I think that's a fair statement. I think people are going to go in feeling strongly one way or the other. Sadly, Awkwafina is not good in this movie. I personally like her, but she does not carry the weight of a police officer. She does not carry herself as a police officer. That's my big problem there. Nicolas Cage is amazing as Dracula. And the violence in this movie is so over-the-top cartoon violence. It's amazing. So again, there will be things that it's not a perfect movie. And the last thing I'll say about it is this whole support group thing. It's much better in the movie than it comes across in the trailers.
Yeah, I thought the trailer has been kind of tiresome. Every time I see it, I kind of cringe and just go.
It tries to be way too jokey and more jokey than that film actually is. That's the problem with the trailer.
Well, that's good to hear. So your early reaction is it because you messaged me right after you saw it and said, "Hey, it's actually pretty good." And you're not the first person to tell me that.
Yeah, it's flawed. It has flaws. But I think Robert Kirkman's kind of influence kind of comes out and shines through. I took my kid to see it, and she felt the same way, and she actually wants to see it again. So
really,
yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, that's good to hear. So look, I'm seeing it tonight. There's an Investor Connect screening at the AMC Burbank 16. There are AMCs across the country. I am seeing it tonight. I'm looking forward to it. We will talk about it in more detail on Friday. Let's do another quick review before we get to our special guests. So we're going to pivot again. Alan, that's your cue.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Let's talk about a movie I saw at the theater over the weekend.
Hold on. Let me yeah, there we go. Let me just say this about this movie. Based on the trailers, I have no desire to see this movie. It just feels like the way it's set up, it just feels like it's, hey, let's justify why environmental terrorism is good. And it's like
okay, it builds its let me talk about how to blow up a pipeline. I saw it with a group of people on Saturday afternoon. It is currently playing in limited release in theaters. It's an indie film put out by Neon, same distributor who also put out films like Parasite, which won Best Picture. I believe it played at South by Southwest, and here it is now in wide release in theaters. It is about a group of climate activists who decide that what they're going to do is blow up key pieces of a pipeline in order to drive up the price of gas so that those in charge will choose to pivot away from fossil fuels. It stars no one you've ever heard of. So a lot of newcomers, people who've been bit parts in indie movies. An actor named Lucas Gage plays Logan. Ariella Bearer plays Xochitl. Forrest Goodluck plays Michael. You meet them at the very beginning and you just see them building a bunch of bombs. And they're being very careful with how they're building it. There could be accidents. As you see their plan roll out, because you don't actually see what the plan is, you learn the backstories of each character and how they got together to pull this off. Because what they want to do is not only do they want to pull off blowing up the pipeline, but they also want to pull it off so not all of them go to jail. So they're being very careful. So it's in some ways it feels like a heist film, but it doesn't star anyone of note. They meet in the desert at this dirty, grungy like cabin where they live for several days while they begin to build the bombs and execute the plan. They've been planning even before that. They're being very careful not to use any smartphones of any kind. Even when you see in the flashbacks, you'll see when they have conversations, they turn up music and they put their phones in the refrigerator. They're so paranoid about being exposed. And I found the beginning of the movie tiresome. As you begin to see each of the characters' stories unfold, I became much more invested because each of them has a motivation for wanting to be involved. One of the women, there's a female couple in a lesbian relationship, and one of the women as that part of that couple, she's dying of cancer, so she's gone just very dark in her world and wants to pull this off. That relationship really works. There's another couple you see other people. Why are they driven to do this? And as you're seeing the present day, you see each person's they give you not necessarily their origin story, but how they got to where they were and what their personal motivations are for why they're doing what they're doing. But here's the thing, while it's actually a very well-made heist film, very well done, no stars, so it's not like Brad Pitt is in this thing. There's not anyone really recognizable, or at least that I recognized. But I'm looking at this, and it is from the point of view of domestic terrorists. And the movie is incredibly sympathetic towards domestic terrorism. There is a discussion between some of the characters about hey, this is going to really affect poor people, because it's going to drive up the price of gas. It's going to affect a lot of people in a negative way. And so there is a little bit of that, but not really enough. There weren't, there are police detectives that become involved later. I don't want to get into spoilers or anything that happens in the second half. I will say it's just expertly pulled off as it's sort of part heist film, but it's also in a way, I felt this movie is kind of irresponsible, because these terrorists are the heroes. It's kind of like, I hate to say this, it's like Antifa, the movie, where Antifa are the heroes. So I have moral issues with any recommendation of this film. If I judge it as a movie, just judging it as a film, it's a very well-made heist, crime, suspense thriller, excellently pulled off, really good performances by unknowns. Having said that, I philosophically I'm looking at this movie. It feels like propaganda. It feels like straight up propaganda. So I could recommend it as a movie. I cannot endorse the message of the movie. Does that make sense? And there you go. That's my thought on How to Blow Up a Pipeline. Alan, any comments?
Yeah, I mean, we do have a review of it on the website. It's from Abhishek Sharma. Gave it an 8 out of 10. I think he felt the same way. It was, the 8 comes from the performances on the screen as opposed to necessarily the message of the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure that it's sold me. And I think I feel similar to the way you do in terms of it feels more lectury than it is a drama.
It's not. There are parts that get lectury, but there are people that are there to kind of contrast it. So, but yeah. So was it a good film? If I judge it as a film, it's a very good film. Does it have a message that I can endorse? No. So my recommendation to you is probably a pass. So there you are. Let's go to your chat comments and questions here, and then we will pivot. We're minutes away from our interview when we wrap up the show today. But I appreciate there's over 800 people watching right now. Please smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. We appreciate it.
Oh, wow.
Wait, that's not the video that I wanted to show. I wanted to show a different video. Alan, what was that thing? Yeah, productions generally don't have. You get to that point, you're going to need an HR department. That's just my personal, and you're going to have some, you just have some version of an HR department. So HR departments.
Do you just feel that, by the way?
What's that?
Earthquake.
Oh, cool. All right.
Let's
go to your comments and questions here. Aurora Uplinks for 5 says, it's funny how G4 became in a lot of ways the prototype of many other shows. And I personally feel it was the prototype of many YouTube shows. Wait until you see the doc. Just wait until you see the doc. I do think that Attack of the Show and G4 in general inspired others to say, you know what? I can be on camera. I know a lot about comic books. I know a lot about video games. I'm going to talk about them. And there you go. Back to How to Blow Up a Pipeline. Boo Boo asks, are they the bad guys? They are the protagonists. They are the heroes. They are the heroes of the story. So make of that what you will. And Max Headroom says, oh, of course, climate activists did it. Right. Pass. Well, that was my whole thing, is like, it kind of felt like they're the protagonists, they're the heroes. It felt like the movie was, I'm really shocked that this movie got a wide release. I mean, it's not like in 1,000 screens, but that it got released in theaters. It's kind of encouraging people how to pull off blowing up a pipeline. So how is this getting released in theaters wide is surprising to me. But the audience that I saw it with, I was probably the oldest person in the audience. The audience I saw it with were a lot of young activists. And I'm not going to say they're activists. They're just young people. I just assume maybe they are, but not for me really. But Solomon Thornton says, when I asked Eric Weber about good movie directing, he told me to check out that Pipeline film. Well, now you know why Eric Weber is not here right now talking about this movie. We need a sober-minded, intelligent opinion, and there you go.
Yeah.
No, it is. Look, he's actually right. It's a very well-directed movie. It's in the vein of a heist film. It uses tension. You meet all these characters, and then they kind of go back into each character's story to kind of explain how they got here and what their personal motivations are. It's very well done. I don't believe in the message of the movie, and I would question that it would be irresponsible to make and release a film like this. And Retro Nerd Girl, hey, I am loving Retro Nerd Girl, your talks covering all these retro movies. You did Flash Gordon, or one of the Flash Gordon serials. You are killing it on your channel. Retro Nerd Girl, subscribe to her channel. She is knocking it out of the park, and I appreciate the kind words about Attack of the Dock. I would love for you to see it. Winter Soldier says, remember when Chris Chan was on G4? Oh my God. Yeah, there's a lot of things that happen on G4. Wait until you see the movie. There's a lot of things that you'll be reminded of that'll be kind of shocking. So, and then one last comment here before we go to our interview for today. Matt Shipton says, don't know if it is real or a COVID-induced fever dream, but I think I saw a trailer with Nick Cage in a film called Renfield. Looked odd. Well, it's an odd movie. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm seeing it in a few hours.
Look, if you know Nick Cage and what he does for roles, he is very Nick Cage as Dracula. I love
You're
gonna love it. I think you're gonna love it.
Unabashedly, I love Nick Cage. All right, it's time for us to pivot. So let's do that. Let's pivot. And pivot is when we switch to a different topic, a different subject. And I think I found it. Let's do that right now. Alan, where's that pivot? Alan, you got to be helping me out here.
I know, I'm trying.
One of us has to be. Welcome to the show, Jillie and Thomas Simon. They are the filmmakers behind Hungry, which Hungry is. Let's get a good look at both of you. Hey, how's it going today?
Hi.
Hey, how are you? How are you both?
Thank you so much for having us on.
Good meeting you.
Thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you showing up early. That is, if you ask anybody who works in entertainment, one of the things you can do to guarantee at least some level of success is just be on time. Just be on time, show up early. 15 minutes early is on time in my book. Your short film, Hungry, I kept scrolling. I can't count the number of awards it's won. Countless awards at film festivals. First of all, tell us a little bit about the story of Hungry. And then I want to talk about how did this movie secure so many awards at festivals? And brilliant shirt there. Thomas. That looks amazing.
Thank you.
Fan of the Clash. Tell us the story and how you were able to secure so many festival accolades.
Well, it's based on something true that was happening. Was in that teachers, a couple of teachers around the country, were finding out that students in their classes were going hungry because of the cuts to the SNAP program in the Farm Bill. So a couple of teachers paid out of their pockets so that their kids could have something to eat and not be like, going hungry throughout the day at school. So Thomas showed me those two little articles, and I thought, well, that's a topic that I, think is really important to shine a spotlight on, and a character that I'd love to play. So Allison is, she's idealistic, but she is shy in front of people of power. Like she has no problem talking with her kids, but she has this shyness, a little fear of talking to people in power. And she finds out that kids are going hungry. She pays out of her pocket to help them, and didn't realize she had like nothing left in her account. That she maxed out her and her husband's account when they go to get groceries. And then she looks it up, and she finds out that 250,000 kids around the country are going hungry, and she determines she has to do something. And she finds out that her congressman, which is the role that Eric Roberts played beautifully, is going to be in town. And so the next day, so she has to go and try to, get him to do something to help the children. So that's
well. First of all, I mean, all of our schools are going through troubled times at the moment, and the fact that people are going hungry in America is just, it's unconscionable. I mean, I remember growing up as a kid and having my grandmother say, eat all your food. There are kids starving in China. Now I think it's the other way around. There are kids starving in America, and it's really sad to see. I love Eric Roberts in. I'll admit I haven't seen the film, but I did see the trailer. I love Eric Roberts. I did a show, an internet show with him briefly. He is totally real. Right. His wife is his manager. You have to deal with his wife as the manager.
Yes. It was fantastic. We had them come down, for the shoot. Like, we flew them in from Toronto, and he gave it his all. He even put himself up. He had a friend, stayed at a friend's house. He really worked with us.
Because they care about kids' causes, both of them.
They read the script. Right.
Well, let me ask you this. I interviewed Eric about 2 years, right before the pandemic, actually. And I asked him that question: How does an indie filmmaker get Eric Roberts in their movie? How did you get him to ultimately join your production?
Well, as an actress who worked for years in New York, I knew a lot of people, and so for all the rest of the most of the rest of the roles, I thought of people who I knew, had worked with, was friends with, and for that role, I put it out on the breakdown services. So I put a casting call out to the agents and managers, and
for a name actor.
As you know, Eliza, acts as Eric's manager, and she must have seen it, and she thought that was something that they would, both be very interested in. So they asked for the script, and after they read the script, he was in. Yeah.
Oh, that's great to hear. I also happen to know that Eric Roberts likes weed. Let's not look. You can't sugarcoat it. He's a fan. He is definitely a fan of the green, and I'm not talking about money. And he is a good person at heart. He's not like a lot of the dangerous characters that you see him play often. But we have a lot of we've got like 700 people watching live on YouTube right now. I have a lot of people in the chat with comments and questions. Can we get to some of these comments and questions about the film? And tell us, before I forget, where can people see Hungry?
They can go to hungry.movie. It's streaming on Amazon Prime and Vimeo on demand. So if you just go to hungry.movie, you can find the links are right there.
All the info, everything, all the whole lowdown is there.
Thank you for the question about like we won 19 awards in 35 festivals, so we were
That's
very
crazy.
honored. Yeah.
Well, it might be a good movie. It just might. Let's go to some of these comments. There's a lot of comments and some questions here. Imperfect says local schools here continued their free lunch program even during lockdown. Max Headroom says Eric Roberts is best of the best, good martial arts flick. And here's a question here. 200 Watt Studio says, is your wife single? I'm gonna guess. Well, then there you are. And look, it's a question. Brad says the Clash is awesome.
She's super hot.
Yeah, well, you're a lucky man. So there you go. Eric Roberts is great, says Chet's mom hey, shout out Chet's mom. I know where you are, in the Big Mitten. Wookie Fodder says, I'm hungry right now. Kavita Duckworth says, any plans to follow up Hungry?
I actually did have some people talking, asking me about making a series of it where Allison goes on all these other adventures and, takes on other things. And because people really love the character, and I love the character, but I did explore that, but I ultimately put it on the shelf. And right now I just actually last week started writing something new, but meanwhile, we're going to be we just started pre-production for a new short. Since we didn't have a feature script, we're going to do one more short.
And our current short, A Chance, is still in the festival circuit.
Oh yeah, it's playing your area. It's playing LA at the
Regal LA Live.
At the Regal LA Live on April 21st.
At the Beyond Hollywood International Film Festival.
Oh, that's good. Congratulations. Solomon Thornton asks, how did you budget the film?
How did we budget it?
We finalized the script and we cast it, and we got the locations. We kind of we wanted to make this film to showcase who we are. Jillie's an actor and a writer, and I'm a musician.
Brilliant composer,
editor. I've done a bunch of documentaries, feature films, soundtracks, but not. It's basically a calling card for what we do. And
so we kind of we saw how much each thing was. There was a couple of locations that one in particular, the where the gala scene was I guess our biggest expense. Mm-hmm. And Thomas does all the post-production, like editing and of course the sound design and the music. Yeah. So we had a lot of that. So we just kind of saw what was needed and self-funded with what we had saved up for.
Right.
So a lot of what you would call sweat equity.
Yeah,
a lot of sweat equity. Let's see. Here's another question here. Hidden Hand Media says, why the hell aren't parents giving their kids food? So this is a real problem in certain parts of America, which is embarrassing to say.
Yeah, I mean, there's 4 states that have now, like Minnesota, just gave funding for free lunch for kids who need to be in school, K to 12. And that's the 4th state. We have all these other states who could, catch up and help out and do the humanitarian thing and not let kids go hungry, which makes them then not be able to focus, not be able to learn, like they can fall behind, they can fall asleep, I mean, families are going through very hard times
economic
right now.
Issue. A lot of families, they have multiple children, like the income or one of the parents go unemployed, falls in hardships, and they need these kind of programs to fill in the gaps.
I mean, I'm sure that every story is different. Every family that's struggling has their own struggle, which you know, we know some of them, some of those struggles, like Thomas just mentioned.
A couple last questions before we wrap up our show here. 200 Watt Studio has a comment for 5. Looking forward to the film. I met Eric once. He's very present and attentive. Congratulations on your success. Thank you, 200 Watt Studio. And our final question here, I think, is a fun one. The Nerd Far Away, who's a member, thank you for that. Obviously, Thomas likes The Clash. Jillie, who's your favorite band?
Well,
and by the way, your husband's a musician. I just want to point that out. So.
Besides our bands, like band was Love Alien, our second band, Musiciens Sans Frontières, and his current project is Thomas Simon Vortex. But
I'm actually touring. I'm playing the Whiskey A Go Go on June 8th. Come out.
I adore Nirvana, and I adored Nirvana, and I adore Peter Gabriel. And I was so excited because the last song we wrote, which was in 2021, we have Jerry Marotta playing the drums on it, and he is, you know, Peter Gabriel's the drummer on a couple of his
major songs, yeah.
Major albums. The one with the face, Peter Gabriel, the face melting off, you know, Intruder, all that stuff. That's Jerry Marotta. And
but we grew up in the 90s, you know, like Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, Nine Inch Nails, you know, name it. Moby.
But if you want to hear that new song, it's called Save Our Planet. And it's
yeah, go endorphinrecords.com, and you have all kinds of albums, all kinds of links to music and our works, what we do across the music and film industry.
And we can save our planet without blowing anything up. I
know.
On Connect on Instagram at Jillie Simon, or at Thomas Simon Vortex.
Cool. All right. I want to thank you both for being on the show today. You were great. The movie Hungry, go to hungry.movie.
Right.
It was the website. It's on Amazon Prime. It's on Vimeo On Demand. Thank you so much for being on the show today. Oh, wait, there's one last comment here. 200 Watt Studio for 5. Does Jillie ever get that she looks like Mary Steenburgen? Oh,
yes.
I guess I did once. Yeah.
Yes, you do. Now I was like, you look so familiar. And oh my God, that's great. Well, thank you, 200 Watt Studio, and thank you both. You're both amazing. Congratulations. Whiskey A Go Go in June 8th. So follow on
for Spread Eagle. It's going to be a great show.
All right. Well, follow them on Instagram. It's Jillie Simon, Thomas Simon on Instagram. Find the movie hungry.movie. Thank you again for being on the show and telling us about your film.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Thank you so much. Later. That's great. What a sweet couple.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Love it. We're going to
I will
wrap
say
up
my daughter, our school, it's not cheap. School lunches are not cheap, and they're garbage at the same time.
Well, it's just having been a dad and having been through that era with kids, it is one of the most difficult eras when kids are at that stage, and you almost need to prep your meals the night before to make sure everybody gets a good meal to get on the road. It's important. So there you go. All right, we're going to wrap it up here. I want to thank you, everyone who's in the chat. Wow, we had over 1,000 people today. Thank you. Subtle Deviancy coming in with a late super chat here for $2. Alan equals Chris P. Gore's Renfield P. Platitudes aplenty. Wait, what?
Oh, so your middle initial is P, and the P stands for Platitudes aplenty.
All right, fine.
Yeah, it's math.
Fine.
I understand it's math. You don't understand it. So
yeah, well, there you go. Alan, you understand it. But I want to thank everybody who stuck with us today through. We had a good conversation. We had over 1,000 people. We're growing the channel, usually getting between 600 and 1,000 people. Please watch us every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific time. This Friday is our early show, 9 a.m. Pacific time on Fridays. Join Alan and I there. We're going to talk about Renfield. We're going to talk about Picard. So there you go. And they go, Max Headroom says Chris can take a joke. I like that. Always. Have you seen our videos on our channel where I like the videos that we play? Alan and I are constantly, you've seen it. Like, here you go. Or look, Alan and I both have a sense of humor here. Alan, don't play that video. Well, there you are. I knew you would do that.
Actually, I had it queued up. I was going to do that.
That's so great. All right. Thank you, everybody. We will see you Friday at 9 a.m. We'll see you next week. And I'll see you Friday, April 21st at a screening of Attack of the Doc at the Frida Cinema in Santa Ana, California. Just go to Attack of the Doc. That's doc.com. Links to tickets, pre-order on Vimeo. And I appreciate all your support, all the kind words about the movie. I can't wait for you all to see it. We will celebrate nerd culture again. Alan, yeah, what else is going on with you?
Yeah, more reviews coming up on filmthreat.com. Keep visiting it every day. And if you're in San Diego this Saturday, I will be at the National Comedy Theater at 7:30. And that'll be the last time for the rest of the month. So there's your chance. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. And Alan will be moderating the Q&A for Attack of the Doc at the premiere. Alan, take us out. What's the last? What do you have to say?
Let's get out of here.